Welcome back. Sam Pitroda, the veteran congressman and the party's overseas unit chief, has stepped down from the post this evening amidst a huge political row over his remarks that came amidst the massive seven-phase election. In an interview to The Statesman, Mr. Pitroda described India as a diverse country where people on the east look like Chinese, people on the west look like Arab, people on the north look maybe white, and people in the south look like Africa. The Congress, still firefighting over Mr. Pitroda's earlier comment on inheritance tax, found itself in the middle of a fresh row.
Our next generation of
And he has done it again, quickly emerging as Congress's self-goal expert. Rahul Gandhi's advisor Sam Pitroda has sparked another controversy, embarrassing his party, this time comparing South Indians to Africans and people from the Northeast to the Chinese. No surprise, the Prime Minister and most top BJP leaders did not lose the opportunity to attack the Congress.
आज मुझे पता चला कि अमेरिका में ये शहजादे के एक अंकल रहते हैं। ये शहजादे के अंकल वो उनका फिलोसोफर एंड गाइड है। चमड़ी के रंग के आधार पर मेरे देशवासियों का अपमान कर रहे हैं। शहजादे, आपको जवाब देना पड़ेगा। चमड़ी के रंग के आधार पर मेरे देशवासियों का अपमान मेरा देश सहन नहीं करेगा।
कितनी बार हिंदुस्तानियों का अपमान करोगे? इससे बड़ा जातिवादी बयान क्या हो सकता है?
राहुल गांधी के एडवाइजर हैं। अब मैं समझ गया कि राहुल गांधी इस तरह से अनाप शनाप क्यों बोलते हैं। इस पर क्या टिप्पणी की जाए? ये हार की हताशा है। न हिंदुस्तान समझते हैं, न देश की विरासत समझते हैं। The Congress has been largely silent over the controversy, except for distancing itself from Pitroda's comments.
सैम पिट्रोडा द्वारा भारत की अनेकताओं को जो उपमाएं दी गई हैं, वो बिल्कुल गलत है, दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है और अस्वीकार्य है।
Southern parties aren't amused by Pitroda's comments either.
The stereotyping of calling North Indian resembling Chinese or South Indian resembling African is totally unacceptable. Prime Minister Modi in this issue is hypocritical because when his own partyman has made similar statement in the past targeting religious minorities. Sam Pitroda is nobody to India Alliance.
I think it's high time people like Sam Pitroda are shown their awkath, where they belong to.
In the midst of elections, Sam Pitroda's comments have come at a very unfortunate time for the Congress. With Bureau Input, Sunil Prabhu, NDTV.
Well, joining us now, Aarti Jairath Hoinu Hozel. She's a senior journalist. Mohan Kumar Mangalam, working president of the Tamil Nadu Congress. R.P. Singh of the BJP. And I'll be joined soon by Conrad Sangma, Chief Minister of Meghalaya. I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us. Mohan Kumar Mangalam, I know that Sam Pitroda has, withdrawn from various posts and things like that. But what does it show about the man to be making racist remarks like this in the first place? Somebody who's been an advisor to the Gandhis for so long.
Well, first, I think I've known Mr. Pitroda maybe for the past 30 years or so. He's in no way a racist person. The comments he made were not in the spirit of being racist at all, but they are unacceptable because of the manner in which he made it, the things he said. The larger point he was making, and he spoke to some length before those comments and after, and it's unfortunate that all of that is being ignored in this discussion. His larger point was basically to say that unlike, for example, European nation states where linguistic homogenization was seen as an indispensable condition for making the nation a social and cultural whole. Most of them followed the same culture and they spoke the same language and had the same appearance by and large. India in 1947 was 550 independent states, about 350 million people, speaking more than 2,000 languages. And 70 years ago, the country peacefully came together to form a union. So, often abroad, India's democracy is referred to as a grand experiment because of how complex it is, because of how diverse we are. and that we are built on this principle of unity in diversity of appearance, language, culture, food. He talked about being a Gujarati but loving
racially
dosas.
stereotype people is bizarre, no?
It is bizarre. I'm saying that the words he used was bizarre. I
Why
mean,
would anybody
given the
use
fact
that
that
words?
people from
Northeastern
Northeast,
people or Eastern
I
Indian
agree.
people are Chinese.
I agree with you, Vishnu. I think it's condemnable that he used those terms, but I'm telling you that I don't know him to be a racist person.
Okay, all
I
right.
don't
Let
think
me
he
get a
used it in
response
that sense.
from RP Singh.
I mean, and I'll also say,
yeah,
that I don't think West Indians look Arabic at all. So some of the things that he said really don't even make sense to me. But I'm trying to get to the larger point.
It's not funny, and let's not talk about what people look like. I mean, that was a mistake that Sam Pitroda made. RP Singh, is there anything in that explanation by Mohan Kumar Mangalam that works for you, that you accept?
Vishnu, as per Mr. Sam Pitroda, Gandhis are Goras. The present set of Gandhis are Goras. Because he said people who hail from North India, Nehrus and Gandhis are Goras, and in a fashion he means to say that they are Britishers. So that's what Sam Pitroda means. But coming to the real part, what is Sam Pitroda trying to say and do, and what was Mr. Kumar Mangalam trying to say? That we are union of states. We have come in 1947 together. For them, history starts from Mughal to British to then Gandhis and Nehru and Gandhi. That's all this, the part of the history they talk about. And exactly the same words are what Mr. Mohan Kumar Mangalam is saying, has been reiterated by Amrit Pal Singh, who is in Dibrugarh jail, Khalistani Amrit Pal Singh. He said, India is union of state and every state has a right to decide how do they function. I mean, Punjab should have a right, and we are a Khalistan. What I'm trying to tell is that this reflects the DNA and the mindset of the Congress party. They don't know what Bharat was, what Bharat is. For them, it's 1947 onward, the party which started in 1940s.
All right, so you're saying there's a massive disconnect.
Give me a second. Allow me a second.
Quickly,
is he aware that people, the Pandas, the priests from the Karnataka, the Rahul community goes and do the puja, are they the priests for the Kedarnath? Or priests from Tamil Nadu are the priests for Kashi? Maharaja Ranjit Singh offered gold to Kashi temple, Kashi Vishwanath temple. So this is India, and it's not India that union of states. This India as a Bharat existed millions of years ago.
All right, I get that. I understand what you're trying to say. Aarti, from a political standpoint, is this not a massive self-goal as far as the Congress party is concerned, irrespective of the fact that Pitroda has withdrawn from the position that he was in?
Yes, I think it has been terribly, terribly embarrassing for the Congress. And I think he saved the Congress, he was in serious danger of becoming a liability. It already landed them in a soup over the inheritance tax remark. They managed to, cover that up. But this was something which, kind of really hits at the very heart of Indians because, it sounds so racist. Now, the problem is that I think Sam Pitroda has been living far too long in the United States. And, comments like this may be acceptable there. But clearly, he's, quite out of touch with sensibilities in India. And, that's where the disconnect lies. And, he's really done the Congress a favor by stepping down. But this controversy is going to ripple for some time now, till somebody else makes another blooper.
But, bloopers and Pitroda happen all the time. In fact, we've got a compilation of what he's been saying over the years. I'm just going to go through that. May 2024, that's now, people in the south look like Africans, those in the east look like Chinese. That's his latest comment. 2024 April, last month, inheritance tax, advocated an inheritance tax, citing a US example, right? That got him into all sorts of political trouble. 2019 on Pulwama, he says, on the Pulwama attack, which is a terrorist attack, he said, it happens all the time. An attack happened in Mumbai also. again, the way he says it, or why would you draw, why would you put it like that when you're asked to express a concern on a horrific attack? On 1984 anti-Sikh riots in May 2019, he said, 1984 mein hua to hua, now talk about jobs. So what, we forget about 1984? And on Ambedkar, he said, in January 2024, Nehru contributed more to the drafting of the constitution than B.R. Ambedkar. Less controversial in that sense, but again, this is an issue where there are sensibilities attached with the role of B.R. Ambedkar. Politically not very wise for a politician to be saying this. But Hoinu, as we talk about the politics, the larger issue is of latent racism in our society at so many levels. And when you have a political leader start talking about these things, it just reinforces something we all don't want to talk about, that we live in a terribly racist country.
Vishnu, I could be coming up with a view completely different, but I think we all are entitled to our views. I would like to look at the intent of the statement and the context. And I am very sorry to say that we are very quick to react. Our reactions are not very well informed. For a man who has been serving in the public eye for over 5 decades, have been a thinker, been responsible for crafting a lot of important policies. If you look at the interview, it was really in the light of saying that we are celebrating one of the largest democracy, and he also spoke about how proud he was of the fact that we are a diverse country. So when he said that, I think, to my mind, there were many things that he already must have processed in his mind. For instance, if we look at India and the Southeast Asia, there are indeed cultural affinities. And also, despite the geographical distance, the South and Africa could share significant commonalities which boast of cultural diversity with numerous language, traditions, and ethnic groups. So I am not willing to really say that he is saying that with an intent to hurt. It wasn't meant to be derogatory. Rather, I would like to ask ourselves, is it because of the times that we live in that we are very, very quick to take sentences out of context and give that kind of tone and connotation that it isn't meant to be? And I also want to just bring us back to the G20 summit where our theme was one world, one earth, one family, one future, which underscores the interconnectedness of humanity, transcending borders, cultures, ideology. It speaks to recognize that we are all a part of the global community. So don't you think it is really in that context? He is a man, he's a thinking man. So when he said, we all look like, it's not really in the physical sense of appearance. We already have many, many underlying affinities that are already there. So I hesitate to say that it is said with an intention to derogate or belittle Indians. I think it's celebrating the fact that we are all a part of that. That's how I would look at it. As a Northeastern, I'm not offended. Rather, I am offended by, you remember when the coronavirus happened, we were profiled as carriers of the virus. I'm offended more of statements loosely termed like that, which was really intended to hurt us.
No, absolutely.
Not this, not
Half a second,
Hoinu,
I just want to go across to Aarti because, and get back to the political arguments over here in election season. It's given Narendra Modi a free pass. If you look at what the Prime Minister has said, and I quote, I got to know that there is an uncle in America who's the philosophical guide of Shehzada, and just like the third umpire in cricket, the Shehzada takes advice from the third umpire. And he goes on and on and on. Right, he referred to Pitroda being Rahul Gandhi's uncle, guide and philosopher. It's very difficult for the Congress to dig themselves out of this, right?
Yes, and I think the fact that Sam Pitroda has quit, I think, will certainly, ease the situation, the embarrassment for the Congress. But the fact is that, this is election season, right? And, and this is a very polarizing and divisive election campaign, the likes of which we haven't seen in a long time. The kind of rhetoric that's being flung all over the place is really quite disturbing. So, you have to be very careful what you say. I mean, what the previous panelist said is all very well. But unfortunately, at election time, everything is seen through political lens. And that's why you have to be extra careful. And I think Sam Pitroda, as I said, he's actually not a politician. He's a technocrat. He came as Rajiv Gandhi's advisor to, advise him on things like water mission and computerization and so on. So he's not a politician. And I guess having lived abroad for so long, he doesn't understand, how these things ring here back home in the middle of a long, hot summer campaign where everybody is hyping everything up to make it as divisive and as emotive as possible. And, that is really the mess that the Congress has landed itself in.
Well, I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us. We're joined now by a very special guest, Conrad Sangma, Chief Minister of Meghalaya, with us. Mr. Sangma, thanks very much for being with us. Besides the politics, the remarks themselves are deeply offensive. They are so terribly unfortunate. It comes at a time when the last thing we need to be doing is saying anything that divides us on racial grounds. God knows we have so many differences within this country already.
Absolutely. And I don't want to sound very dramatic here, but I do recall as a student studying in Delhi in school, and often I'm talking in the 90s, and often we did face this kind of situation, and we thought that the country has moved forward, and with the kind of nationalism that we would like to see, that these kind of things would not happen that often. So it's sad to see that a person of that stature, a person who's seen the world and understands the policy making and that, at the highest level, would make a statement like that does hurt. And I think it's really unfortunate that, that something like this would happen. And it's really, we condemn it at the highest level from our side.
Mr. Sangma, do you believe it was a slip of tongue? Do you believe it was a lack of exposure to what contemporary India is all about, where something like this is utterly unacceptable? What would explain statements like this?
That's precisely my point. It just seems really odd, even for even a very junior party leader or a politician or somebody who holds an important post in a political party would be more careful to not make statements like these. And hence, when you hear these statements, it really, makes you wonder that is it something that just was always there and it came out, or was it a slip of tongue? It's really worrisome. And, it's something that, of course, I've heard that he has resigned just now from all the posts that he had. But I think it's the message at large that has been sent to the people of the region, especially Northeast and even from South India. And it's something that I think people are very offended with.
In its politics season, election season, it all seems out of control. Doesn't this just add to political fodder during the elections, when the last thing we need is race, right? And the way people look to be something that politicians discuss.
Absolutely. In fact, I was just telling some of the friends just now that, look, it's not about the politics. At the end of the day, asking me that it's going to affect the votes or not, I said, I have one vote, and everybody else has one vote. I think what is important is that in today's world, when we're trying to see that we're able to move forward in the right way and send the right positive message, these kind of comments really don't help. And as I said, that if we see some very junior person making the statements, we could still, kind of put it on the side. But when it comes out from a senior person with so much of experience and exposure, it does send a bit of a worrying signal. But yes, it's election time, so obviously it does become an election point for many. But as I said, people will judge. And at least from my side, all I can say is that a person who has, in a way, seen some of it, experienced some of it, gone through it, seen the changes that happened in the past, seen the bonding that has happened, seeing improvement in the overall situation. Yes, some incidents coming in. But as I said, when a statement like this comes in, it does kind of really damage this entire process of trying to move forward, and, takes us back a few steps. And now we have to again work on it to take it forward.
All right. Thanks very much, Mr. Sangma. Always wonderful speaking to you. It is very unfortunate indeed.